everyone, welcome back. So in today's video, I wanted to go over my favorite MAC eyeshadows. Now, I have a lot, but if you follow me on Snapchat, then you know that there's a specific palette that I put together that I wanted to show you. It's this palette right here. It's basically my go-to neutrals. All of them that you'll ever need. So this is a palette that I put together that I use on a lot of my brides and bridesmaids, and it's really neutral, as you can see. And I love the color scheme, like it's warm, some cool tone shades too that work really good with the warmer shades. So let's dive in. I have them categorized by my matte shades, and then this kind of goes into my crease colors, and then after the crease I jump into the lid tones, and then anything that I use to make the colors darker. So the first color that I have up is Vapour. Vapour I like to use in the inner corner or in the highlight. It's just the perfect iridescent kind of whitish shade. It has a slight pink undertone, so it works really well on fair skin tones. Going down, I have Dazzlelight eyeshadow, which is this color right here. Dazzlelight is either, if I can remember off the top of my head, a Velux Pearl Shadow or it's a Frost. So similar to Vapour, it works really well in the inner corner. A lot of the colors that I'm going to mention right now are good for the inner corner and the brow bone. So Dazzlelight is one of my favorites, and then there's also Nylon. There's not that much of a difference in texture from Dazzlelight and Nylon. I almost feel like they're the same texture if they're not the same texture. Nylon is more of a yellowy undertone versus Dazzlelight, which has more cool tones to it. And then another inner corner highlight that I like to use, oh, this is Vapour right here. I'm sorry, I'm lying, guys. So this is Vapour right here, and then up here, up top is Vanilla. So Vapour and Vanilla are the same finish. Vapour does have more of a pink undertone, and Vanilla, it's just more white. It doesn't have a lot of pink like the Vapour has. And then my go-to matte shades that are like a bone kind of color, skin tone kind of color, are Orb and Brule. Brule, you can see that I kind of got down to the bone to it. Brule and Orb are really pretty. Orb is super matte. It's a matte finish. Right? Yeah, it's a matte finish. And then Brule is a satin, I believe. I could be totally lying, but I'm going to list everything and the finish down below. But Brule, after I put on the concealer, I like to put Brule on top to just set it and set the primer so that all the other colors that I put on just kind of glide in a lot smoother. Oh, my arm's hurting. Okay, so now that we went over the inner corner highlights and the brow bone colors, I'm going to mention my go-to crease colors. So I have Malt up here, and then Kid, this is Bamboo, and Soft Brown. So I have 4 crease colors. Malt, you can even use, all these colors you can even use on the lid if you want like a matte look. Definitely they're my go-tos for the crease. When I left MAC, like that last month that I was there, I was using Malt on everyone's crease, and it's really similar to Kid. Malt does have a little bit more of a pink undertone, and Malt works really good on the lid, like it's super pretty. So that's Malt. Kid, again, Kid is amazing. When I first started with MAC, I would go to Soft Brown a lot. Soft Brown, it was like my first one, like it was my baby. It was my first crease color that I ever got to know. And you know, it still has a very special place in my heart, but definitely right now my go-to crease color a little bit more is definitely Kid. So Soft Brown and Bamboo are also really similar. Bamboo is just a little bit lighter, so if you have somebody with more fair skin, or if you are someone that's more fair, Soft Brown might be a little dark for you, so Bamboo is a good color to pick up because it's a lighter brown. If you're familiar with like Makeup Geek shadows, it almost reminds me of like Beaches and Cream. It's really pretty. So Soft Brown and Saddle are also my favorite, like one of my favorite crease colors. When I use the two, or when I do Kid, or when I do Bamboo, my second crease shade, like in the outer V, will be Saddle. So Saddle's a little bit deeper, but it's completely matte, and it's definitely a pretty look. Okay, so for my lid colors, I have more of a variety. My lid colors, those are the ones that have more of a sheen. So from left to right, I have Jest, I have, what is this, Sable, Satin Taupe, Coquette, Patina, Mulch, All That Glitters, and Motif. So Coquette is a matte finish, but I love it for the lid. I'm actually wearing it right now on my lid. I don't know if you can see. Let me zoom in. Okay, so when you see right now, like I'm using Coquette on my lid. So Coquette is gorgeous. It's really pretty on the lid because it creates like a really easy smoky eye without being too dark. I used this in one of my videos, my neutral eyeshadow plus Velvet Teddy lipstick, and I'm basically wearing the same look right now. So if you haven't seen that, I'm gonna leave a link to it right here so you can take a look at it. But Coquette is just super pretty. So Coquette is a matte, but I like to use it on the lid. Jest and All That Glitters are almost similar to each other, but when you see Jest has it's a little bit lighter, and compared to All That Glitters is more like a champagne color. And again, there's Sable and then there's Satin Taupe. So Satin Taupe is a really pretty color to use. It's more cool toned and it's a little bit more taupey in comparison to Sable, which has a little bit more of like a dusted rose kind of undertone to it. And then there's Patina and Mulch. So Patina is really pretty on the lid too, because when you use it, I don't want to say it's iridescent because that's not like the best word for it, but when you put it up against a darker color, like the dark color just fades so good into it, like it's not even funny. And then Mulch, if you want like a brown smoky eye, that color is a really good color to go to. And then All That Glitters I already described. Motif, I like to use that to mix into other shades. I love mixing it in with All That Glitters because it gives it that, I keep saying the word iridescent, but that's the best way I can describe this color. Motif is just gorgeous, and you can even use it on the cheeks like how I did right here. I use Motif a lot on my cheeks, and when I would do this, I would get asked a lot at the counter, like, what do you have on your cheeks? And I'd be like, right there, girl. So you can put it on top of any blush, you can put it on top of any eyeshadow, and it's gonna give it that nice, just like pretty, like Cinderella kind of vibe. You know what I mean? Like that's the best way that I can describe it. Okay. So now for my matte colors here, these are the ones that I use on the crease. So I have Swiss Chocolate, Groundbrown, Carbon, Folie, and Embark. My typical crease will be like Kid, Saddle, Swiss, and Folie. Like it's the perfect like warm tone without being too red. So Swiss Chocolate, I used it in my video too if you've seen it. Swiss Chocolate's the perfect just like darker hue of saddle. I don't even know how to describe that color, so hopefully my swatches will do any justice. So Swiss Chocolate is definitely really pretty on the crease. For somebody that doesn't want anything too dark, like they want something natural, they don't want anything too dark, if you do Swiss Chocolate just a little bit on the crease, it adds the right amount of definition so that you can still see some contrast with the lid and the crease. So I definitely love Swiss Chocolate, as you can tell. And then Groundbrown, I actually used that in my last video on the lid. It's the perfect smoky eye for somebody that wants something matte. For example, if you don't want to do anything shimmery like Mulch, you can just do Groundbrown and it's really, really gorgeous. And then Folie is slightly darker than Swiss Chocolate, so I like to layer the two on top of each other. Folie looks really pretty on top of Patina, so that's like a really good like gradient blend. Like if you do Patina and then Swiss Chocolate and Folie, so pretty. And then Embark for anybody that doesn't want to do a black like smoky corner, which I typically don't like to do anymore. Like I don't know, I'm just not that crazy about it. For anyone that doesn't want to use black, you can use Embark, and Embark is just a rich dark brown that works good in the corner. You can even do it on the lid too. Like a lot of these you can do on the lid and it still looks really good. And then of course Carbon, which is just a matte black shade. So hopefully my swatches do any justice, and hopefully you liked seeing them and kind of seeing what they look like. I definitely want to record my go-to MAC products because I was there for so long, so I feel like I should hopefully have some knowledge on the products and what my, products are that I like to go to. Because there's so many brands now, like, there's so many things that you can choose from. There's so many shadows that you can choose from. But let's not forget that MAC was like the go-to brand. It was the go-to brand and they set the standard for a lot of products. So their shadows are typically my favorite. I still go to them. A lot of brands now, you'll get shadows from them, and even though they're amazingly pigmented, you're gonna get a lot of fallout from them. And that technically isn't always a good thing. So like I said, these definitely, they're always gonna be a go-to, they're always gonna be around, and they're just amazing products. And you can even back to MAC and get a free eyeshadow, so why the hell not try and get your hands on one of these, I think the palette itself is only $10, the insert, if you want to buy one of those. This palette I didn't put an insert because when you put an insert, even though it's only $2, you can only fit 15 eyeshadows in them. And like this 6, 12, 18, like this I have 24 shadows on it. So I like the conveniency of just not having a palette in it. The shadows before, the individuals, they were marked as $12, but now they're only $6. They're only $6 now. So really they're not even that expensive and really good bang for your buck. So if you want to see a video of my go-to MAC products, then definitely let me know, or whatever else you guys want to see next. So if you haven't already, feel free to subscribe, and until my next video guys, bye.